Most other countries have the same sort of rhetoric, but you're saying it's JIDION because he's a white guy, and it sounds racist. But a lot of people...
What do you mean, what?
That is hold on. You have no understanding. Hold on. That is only an American can say some retarded shit like Europeans all have this.
America rewrote the history books and said, okay, we took over the continent, and that's a great thing. But yeah, the Indians lost. Something was lost. Indian civilization, American Indian civilization was lost. It was wiped out. The people were wiped out. The culture was wiped out. I'm sure the Indians don't feel too good about that. As an American, I don't want America to be wiped out like the Indians were. Now you could say, oh, well, but that happened to the Indians. Okay, well, I don't want that to happen to me. And if you're comparing, that's not a very favorable comparison saying, well, immigrants erasing America is like Americans erasing the Indians.
But it's the same way. I mean, hold on. History repeats itself. It always happens.
Hold on. Destiny was waiting. So
yeah, so just like as a real quick thing. So this is something that I push back historically against Nick. I never get a good answer to this, and there's never a good answer to this. There's two huge problems with this idea of preserving American character. Okay, one, even with a racial homogeneity, countries are still going to change, and they're even going to change because of other cultures. You've got media from other countries, you've got songs on YouTube from other countries, you got all sorts of stuff. So your culture is always going to change. You can never freeze it. Number one. Number two, there is absolutely no consistent culture across the United States of America. Again, like you're going to find greater differences between like one person in America versus another person in America, as opposed to like America versus a whole other country, right? Like if you take a gay dude from San Francisco and compare him to like some, white farmer dude in like Georgia, these are going to be people that are it's going to be more different than like a fucking Somalian and somebody living in LA sometimes. Like the difference is going to be huge. So I don't believe in this idea of preserving this consistent American culture. People can come from all over the world and find some place in the United States that you can fit in. And the culture is always going to be changing anyway. You're never going to freeze it. It's never happened in any country in the world. So I don't know why that would be the goal. It's unrealistic. I feel like you're always doing this thing where you have problems in the world, and people do this all the time. People on the left do this. Women will blame the patriarchy for every single problem in life. Progressives will blame racism for every single problem with black people. And then conservatives, on the other hand, will blame like the media or Jews for everything. Or in your case, it's racial mixing. But the reality is that if we fixed all of your racial problems right now, we either exported all the black people, we curbed immigration, we did everything we wanted, all the same problems would still exist. You'd still have violence in inner cities. You'd still have the animosity between city and rural people. Absolutely. Getting rid of the racial minorities, getting rid of that stuff, that's not going to fix any of the problems in the United States. You're still going to have problems with the media. You're still going to have problems trusting the electoral process. You're still going to have problems between city people, rural people. It's all going to exist. It's just a cheap excuse that you use so that people can feel like they've got the one answer that solves everything. The same way that feminists blame men for everything. What?
To add on to what Destiny just said about you talking about how there needs to be a consistency of culture, even with America, there was never consistency of culture even after the Americans took over. I mean, the Europeans took over America. Because look at during the Civil War, there was a complete different culture from the South and the North. That's why they had a civil war. So you're talking about we need to preserve it when there was never nothing to preserve in the first place because no one was ever in one mindset.
Okay, okay, I'm going to go Nick and then Don.
Okay, yeah, the thing is, I don't think anybody's, I said that. I said to Destiny's point, Destiny said, well, countries always change. Yeah, countries do change, but what we're talking about is tens of millions of immigrants in a generation. It's a big difference. And the change that would happen without tens of millions of immigrants is different than the change with all those people. So nobody's saying that societies don't change over time. I never said that societies don't change over time or vary in different places. Of course they do. But the problem is the erasure of the American national character. You could say that the national character is diverse. True. You could say that the national character has changed over time. Also true. What's happening now is not the American character changing over time organically. We're talking about, like, for example, 2 million illegal border crossings, 5 million illegal border crossings since Biden became president. We're talking about people that don't speak English. We're talking about people by the millions coming in from Asia that aren't Christian. We're talking about people that didn't share any kind of common experience. At least the Europeans all had a common experience, relatively speaking, in Europe. And at least the Americans that inhabited the American continent had it. What do you mean, what?
That is hold on. You have no understanding. Hold on.
Wait, no, you hold on. Let me finish. This
only an American could say some retarded shit like Europeans all have the same history. It's one of the dumbest things you could ever. It's one of the most American things you could ever say.
Same history, but yeah, please jump in with your low IQ rebuttals because your ideology is.
Sorry, that's my inner Cuban part talking. My bad.
30 seconds and we go to Don. Go ahead, finish.
So the point is, obviously, Europeans have more in common with each other than they have with people in India. That's the point I'm making. It's a question about proximity. And so the idea is America is a certain way, and now it is being fundamentally transformed by millions of diverse people speaking diverse languages, diverse ethnicities, diverse religions, and America is going to be unrecognizable to everybody watching this right now within a century. And that's unacceptable.
But you don't find it kind of crazy that the ideal world that he envisions is one in which you wouldn't exist in?
Not the ideal world, but the ideal country. And I think a lot of other countries would agree on that. I think Japanese people would say the same thing. Japanese people like, let's keep this country Japanese. There are people donating. Ethiopians were saying like, yeah, let's keep our country Ethiopian. Most other countries have the same sort of rhetoric, but you're saying it's sad JIDION because he's a white guy. And it sounds racist, but a lot of people in successful people who really are nationalists about their country say the same shit. So I can't.
You don't think, I don't want to get like sentimental here, but you don't think there's something cool or unique about the idea that in any major American city, you can like walk around and you can find Hispanic people, you can find all sorts of Asian people, Middle Eastern people, African people, European people that are all like working together, living together on the bus, on the subway, and Ubers. Like you don't think there's any unique success there that America can claim that like, yeah, we probably should have been like, you know, Japan and been culturally homogenous or racially homogenous. Like you don't think there's any value in that whatsoever?
Ideally, but it's not working. We've become too liberal, and you see the destruction of it. Like my city, New York City's it's got too liberal, too accepting of everything, doesn't have any core values, and it's falling apart.
Sure, and I can agree with you there, right? But that message that you just gave, you found common ground with a dude that's literally a white nationalist. So it seems like the problem isn't race. No, hold on. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying that like you have an idea and you feel strong about it and you want to buck the system. And there are a lot of people that would agree with you that would say these are the exact problems we have, but it has nothing to do with race, right? It might have to do with how
you disagree with him completely. You
Wait,
want me
what?
to agree with you?
No, hold on. I'm not. I don't care who you agree with.
If I may interject.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say that like you can find agreement with people that don't look like you. That's all I'm saying. I don't care if you agree with me or Nick. I'm just saying that you can find. No, I don't care. I'm saying
you said that you were going to flip him. You said that you were going to flip.
That's what my chat says. That's not what I'm talking about. You can
that's what
obfuscate
you
as much
said
as
to
you
me.
want. I'm never flipping
hold.
SNEAKO. Okay, that's not my goal.
That's
What I'm trying
and then Don.
Yeah, all I'm trying to say is that
Can I go after Don?
you can
Can I say
find
something
huge
after
groups of people in the United States that agree and disagree on things, but it doesn't have to be on racial lines. There's a lot of people that agree the system sucks, that COVID was fake, and blah 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 blah. And bro, you can find a lot of black people that think that. That's not an exclusively white opinion. I'm just saying like, yeah, look past the racial shit. I think it's a smoke screen that people put up because it's a clever excuse for everything.
I am trying to look past the racial stuff. You're saying that I agree with a white nationalist. You seem like you just contradict yourself in the same statement. Would you want me to look past it or what? Boom.
That's no. That was the point I was saying was that even for a guy that is a white nationalist, you both have a ton of agreement. So it undermines his point that the racial part is that important. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying the racial part is that important. I'm saying
I know you're not. He is. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying he was.
Who,
Yeah.
JIDION?
No. Nick Fuentes.
I don't think I ever said that black and white people can't agree. Like, what about what
Do you
I
notice?
said?
Okay, fuck. I don't want to keep going because the other two. But like, notice how every time I make a point, he wants to run it as far as possible. I never said that you said they can never agree. But what you said was that white people and black people have fundamentally different core characters that are biologically determined, and that is so essential to you that you want to split them up into different countries. So if you want to act like a dipshit at every time. Hold on. Do you think that? Well, if you just want to lie about what you said, that's fine.
I want to split. Okay, see, I mean, this is what you do.
Hold on. Okay. I don't know. If you want to obfuscate, I mean,
to be fair, he didn't say that, but I get
he
what
said
you're
that he wants to maintain a racial majority of white people in the United States because the character and core of the United States should be whiteness.
Yes.
And he said that he would prefer in an ideal world if every country in the world was monoethnic and monocultural to maintain that core character because there are biologically essentially differences between the races. Yes?
Something between excluding other races and maintaining a majority.
Yeah, and I also said that we live in the world and that countries are complex, and I said that every country has diversity and every country is multi-ethnic to an extent. I said, and we need to understand ourselves. We need to know ourselves to manage them. I never said I don't love other groups.
You literally said if you had a black roommate, you'd fight with them over the shower.
I didn't say that. I said that proximity creates conflict. I said... See, but there you go. It's totally dishonest. I said that proximity and difference creates conflict.
Okay,
that was an analogy to say that when you get lots of different people together in a close living quarters, they're more likely to fight than me and Don on this debate panel. That's what I said, and that happens to be true. And it's not about not liking other people. It's not about not loving your neighbor, not loving God. It's about, is America going to retain its character? And by the way, are both black and white people going to retain their claim to America as a home? Are we going to turn America into your experiment, Destiny, where it's like, wouldn't it be interesting if we had all kinds of people walking around? Like, that's our home. Maybe in the cities, but
hold up, before I pass on Don, I love it that you say that black and white people want to make a claim to their home, but then you're also at the same time saying how much of a claim black people can make depending on how much they overpopulate.
I'm not, well, how am I bullshit?
You're bro, you're bullshitting, bro. Just tell us, what did you say?
Like, Nick really, if I listened to this whole call, I don't think he said anything that makes you want to cancel him. I think he's a good guy. He's saying, hey, I love everybody.